length. First piece goes to apply some pressure within a neck now. G's, Classical Cat, Nagarok between them. Only about 2.5 or so off the pace with a half mile to go in the Eddie Logan Stakes. Malibu Coast has trailed throughout. It's Game Time leading the way into the far turn. 3/4 of a length to First Piece, who's trying to keep pace second. 2 more, Classical Cat. Nagarok gets some breathing room as Ajis bows out. Malibu Coast goes by him. Game Time, First Piece, even terms, 1/4 of a mile from home. Nagarok coming after them 3 wide, Classical Cat and Malibu Coast winding up from behind. They're at the top of the stretch. And First Piece now joined by Nagarok. Classical Cat running a big race, and he's had a good trip too. Here's Classical Cat after First Piece. They're head and head for the wire. First Piece, Classical Cat, First Piece or Classical Cat. Classical Cat wears him down to win it under Rispoli. First Piece second, Nagarok third, photo between Malibu Coast and Game Time. Up next, the fourth. They'll be at the gate in 19 minutes. There are no changes. We do kick off the Rainbow Six with race 4. They're in the gate. And they're off. Very even start. Papale flies out to take the lead. He'll battle with Hoop Dream through the opening furlong. Heavily favored Nolo Contesto now gets a nudge. And Nolo Contesto comes through to take the lead into the first turn. Star Sailor in the yellow colors is now in third as Papale and Nolo Contesto duel to the 6 furlong pole. And they've pulled about 5 lengths clear already. Star Sailor third. Chipper races in fourth. Another 2 back to Club Cal, who races on the inside of Hoop Dream. The 2 trailers, SoCal Red and Granada Flavor, is at the back of the field. It's Papale to the 5/8 pole, leading the way by about a half length. Nolo Contesto keeps pace, a half dozen clear of Star Sailor by himself in third. Then it's Chipper fourth, followed at the rail by Club Cal fifth, 8 or 9 off the dueling pair. Hoop Dream is next. SoCal Red tries to inch up down at the rail, and Granada Flavor outside of him. They head to the 3/8 pole. Nolo Contesto back in front. He's been hounded by Papale throughout. They continue in a ding-dong battle with Papale now just in front. Chipper's had a smooth journey and is coming after the top pair now as Nolo Contesto is under heavy pressure with 1/4 of a mile to go. On the outside, Club Cal is starting to pick up some nice momentum. Star Sailor just inside of him, 3/16 of a mile to go. And here comes Chipper on the outside. Nolo Contesto digging in. Papale is in between them. Center of the track, Club Cal. There's a 16th to go. Papale just in front. Club Cal's coming swiftly on the outside. Here comes Club Cal with good momentum after Papale. Papale, Club Cal. Papale held on. Club Cal second. Chipper third. Nolo Contesto fourth. Photo for fifth involves Star Sailor. Feet going in. Azure Star to the outside. And they're off. Fleet Feet in the center out alertly. Carver has plenty of speed. Jeweled Shalala is down at the rail, and they're joined 4 deep by Azure Star. Just behind them comes Stonks, followed by Genius Jimmy, then Single Track Mine on the inside of Shadow Creek, who's about 8 lengths off the early tempo. San Anton is next on the inside of Keen to Go. It's Carver headstrong to the backstretch, leading the way while under a stranglehold in front, 1.5 lengths to Azure Star in second. Then Jeweled Shalala at the rail in third, followed by Fleet Feet, who's now fourth. Then it's Single Track Mine, fifth along the inside. Stonks is 3 deep. Genius Jimmy between those two. San Anton and Shadow Creek are next, and a length back to Keen to Go. Not much change as they head toward the far turn. It is Carver showing the way. Leads it by about 1.5 lengths to Azure Star in second. Jeweled Shalala hugs the rail in third. Then Single Track Mine and Fleet Feet pushed along on the outside, now taking fourth. Another 2 lengths back to Genius Jimmy. San Anton needs to find some racing room, has about 6 to make up on this loose leader. Carver at the top of the stretch. Carver in front. San Anton now coming with a nice rally between horses and posing a threat with a furlong left to go. Here's San Anton with big strides after Carver. Carver, San Anton, Single Track Mind in the center. Carver tenacious on the front end, turning away San Anton, and it will be Carver under Luis Contreras, making every pole a winning one. San Anton second, Single Track Mind third, fourth between Genius Jimmy's Shadow Creek and Jewel Chalela. They're in the gate, and they're off. Sugar is very quick. So is Feeling Flush, who's hustled for early speed. Sapadilla on the outside up to take a narrow lead. And Big Newton is fourth in the early going, followed between rivals by Big Bell fifth, and about 3 lengths off the speed. Warren Showbiz is next and widest of all. Down at the rail, it's Worthiness with Awesome Donna between those two, and Hot Rod Mama trails. Feeling Flush, Sapadilla head to the 3/8 pole together. Then Big Bell, Big Newton, Sugar at the rail. A length and a half behind them to Worthiness, and Warren Showbiz is just 4 lengths off the lead. Awesome Donna, Hot Rod Mama has tailed off a bit. Sapadilla and Feeling Flush continue to do battle with Sapadilla now about a half length in front. Big Bell coming after the top pair third. Sugar is behind them looking for a bit of room. And then comes Worthiness. They're at the top of the stretch. It's Sapadilla. Sugar continuing to await running room. Angling out for the drive and now coming after Sapadilla. Outside of them, it's Big Bell in third and then Worthiness, a 16th to go. And Big Bell on the outside surges to the front in the late stages. Big Bell by a neck, by a half, by a length and a half. Big Bell proves best. Sugar, Sapadilla, then Worthiness and Feeling Flush. Osda Faust to the outside. They're in the gate. And they're off. Kitty Katana hustled from the center with some sharp early speed. American Lily is up close in the early going, and American Lily is now fastest of them all. One Silk Stocking moves into second, and down at the rail, it's Honey Jar, prominent as well. Honey Jar up to take the second spot, and She's Got Away moves through to be 3 across the course. One Silk Stocking is now in fourth, followed by Big Novel on the inside of Slevka. That pair is followed by Ozda Faust, racing in mid-pack as they run down the hill. Kitty Katana and Briefcase Girl are next. They're followed by Izzy M, and it's another length and a half back to Rose Maddox, who's at the back of the field. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and it's a battle between American Lily on the outside and Honey Jar for the lead as they turn for home. She's Got Away is just behind them in third, followed on the outside by One Silk Stocking. In the center of the course, Kitty Katana is coming alive with Slevka. Kitty Katana is firing hard down the center of the course and coming after One Silk Stocking, who takes the lead. One Silk Stocking, Kitty Katana, these two come for the wire with Honey Jar. One Silk Stocking holds on by a firm length. Kitty Katana was second, third to Honey Jar. Then it's a photo for fourth between She's Got Away and Rose Maddox. Slevko is just behind them. The $18,000 Santa Anita Pick'em contest begins Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow and Sunday, this online contest mixes the popular. They're in the gate. And they're off. Economical bounces out very quickly. State of the Union, Big Swede hustled up along the rail, and Maynard is up with the top flight too as they move into the first turn. Sippin' and Kissin' is fifth along the inside, 5 lengths off the lead, as Big Swede had to alter just a touch and is now coming after front-running Economical as they move to the 6 furlong pole. It's Economical in front. Big Swede in the clear now second, followed by Maynard in third, Sippin' and Kissin' fourth, 3 lengths off the pace. Then State of the Union, Candy for Carmel, Rogue Sun, and Super Classic is at the back. Past the 5/8, Economical in front. Leading the way, 3/4 of a length, Big Swede eager to get after him in second. 1.5 lengths, Maynard covering up Sippin' and Kissin', with State of the Union fifth at the half-mile pole, 4 lengths off the lead. It's now a big gap to the rest. Rogue Sun, red cap on the outside, is a dozen or so off the leader. Down on the inside of him comes Super Classic, and Candy for Carmel is in between those two. It's Economical, who's been prominent throughout, pressed by Big Swede, who's just a head away second. 2 more, State of the Union is in third, followed by Sippin' and Kissin', Rogue Sun far outside. They turn for home. Big Swede, Economical digging in. Big Swede, State of the Union has made steady headway, and he's posing a big threat. And State of the Union is coming smartly on the outside now. State of the Union, Economical, State of the Union, another for Luis Contreras, an upset W over Big Swede. Economical was next. Sippin' and Kissin' not far away. Fourth, photo between Super Classic and Rogue Sun to complete the Super High Five. The best is yet to be. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Blue Norther. Amy Please is very quick. Broadway Girls has plenty of speed. These two hook up right out of the gate, with Manhattan Jungle settling in the perfect spot just behind them third. Pleasant Wave is fourth. Naughty Lottie along the inside, followed by Decorated by Life, and the best is yet to be. 3 deep, 8 lengths off the speed. Ragtime Rose is down at the rail, just on the inside of a well-held G. Lorry, the 2 trailers spanning the globe, and Tea and Conversation is at the back. It's about 15 lengths covering the field as they make their way onto the backstretch. Broadway Girls carves out the fractions. 1.5 lengths. Amy Please second. Manhattan Jungle eager and tugging along the rail in third. Naughty Lottie is fourth. Pleasant Wave fifth with a half-mile left to run. Just in behind them becomes Decorated by Life, and the best is yet to be right together. Now G. Lorry gets a little bit of breathing room. She's on the outside of Ragtime Rose, 7 lengths off the lead, spanning the globe, and Tea and Conversation. Broadway Girls, since the gate open, leads the way by 1.5 lengths, pursued by Amy Please in second. On the far outside, the best is yet to be is winding up. Just in behind them, Manhattan Jungle hugs the rail, looks for a seam, finding it right now with a furlong left to go. It's Broadway Girls, 1.5 lengths. Amy Please, Manhattan Jungle, and the best is yet to be. The 3 jackpot horses are chasing Broadway Girls, who just keeps on going. Broadway Girls, coast to coast under Edwin Maldonado to win the Blue Norther. Manhattan Jungle was second. Tea and Conversation came flying to be in a photo with Amy Please, and the best is yet to be.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Quigley's Corner. I am not Tom Quigley. Maybe you could tell by the shirt. I am Michelle Yu, stepping in for TQ this week. In fact, we'll have a rotating carousel of a couple of different hosts, but we do have one savvy analyst that's going to be joining us. Happy to welcome right now Jeff Siegel of XB TV. Jeff, thanks for sitting with me today.
Oh, and thanks for joining me. I haven't worked with you for a couple of years. Thoroughly enjoy it, so I'm stoked.
Oh, I'm glad that you're happy, because Zoe and I last night, you worked with her all day on the desk.
I did.
She was like, Jeff loves me most. I have that. Do you like me or Zoe better?
Well, you're taking her. I think you're ineligible.
There we go. Before we get into handicapping the card today, obviously, we're going to have a few minutes before changes come out. We do have some changes, so stay tuned for that. Just want to ask a couple of questions, because we don't get to hang out all that often.
Right.
My number one question to you, El Jefe, what do you think is the most valuable handicapping tool out there?
Tool.
I mean,
I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not just saying this because it's ours,
right.
But the XBTV workouts that we have, because we have something that nobody else has. I don't know of any other racetrack that has that. And I can't tell you how many selections that I make that are influenced by that.
Right.
Mostly good. Now, sometimes I see something that maybe I misinterpret and I don't read it right.
That was me with Taba.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's okay.
Before he debuted, I was like,
Taba's one of the worst good workhorses ever. I mean, he's one of the worst good horses that work bad, so I don't blame him for that. But no, I think we have a tool here, as you mentioned, that I live and die by, is the XBT workouts, because we can find out things. They can tell those workouts, if you know how to read them, and I know you do. I mean, they can push you on a horse or take you off one, which is just as important. So I think that anybody who plays seriously at this racetrack has to use the XBTVD workouts, and it's free. So do it.
Now, question: when you're watching the works, what do you look for the most for it to influence you? Is it in stakes horses? Is it in debuters? Is it in claimers?
Well, if once the horse is a stakes horse, and as long as they're traveling healthy, they're moving well, you're going to get what you're going to get. But with first-time starters, you want to see how quick they are from the gate, because they may be nice horses, but if they don't leave properly, they're going to get dirt in their face and they're not going to run well. So you want to see the first opening furlong, and then you want to see how much in hand they have, and then you want to see, if you can, how much they gallop out. I like to see horses change leads too, because that tells me, that they're schooled well. So I mean, there's a lot of things you look at. But with through 2 to 3 minimum, maybe 4 races a day that are maidens, you have to use that. The other thing that kind of helps me is the workouts in the training track, because almost every grass horse works on the training track, and you want to see which ones are ready. I mean, Phil D'Amato uses the training track for all his European imports, and you want to see which ones are ready. So, and you gotta know, because he's cracking every time. So there's so much information that can be gleaned from that.
I completely agree with you. We're going to step aside for a quick timeout while we listen to the scratches and changes from Frank Miramati.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast, the turf course is rated as good, and the rail on the turf is out 10 feet. Here are the early changes. Please keep in mind that Santa Anita's post times will be accelerated today due to rain expected late this afternoon. The first is the Grade 2 Joe Hernandez Stakes, scratch number 3, Super Ocho. We do have a super high 5 carryover from yesterday of $13,863. In the second, beginning of the early pick 4, scratch number 6, Direct Line. Number 5, All Eyes West, will carry 2 pounds over. The third is the Robert J. Frankel Stakes, scratch number 3, Burgoo Alley. In the fourth, we have the program scratch of number 9. And also in the fourth, the Rainbow Pick 6 starts. Nobody had 6 winners at all yesterday. So the carryover is at 159,000 for a single ticket winner. There were no tickets able to select all 6 winners yesterday. In this race, number 3, Nor'Wester, will carry 2 pounds over. The fifth starts the late pick 5, scratch the also eligibles, 12, 13, and 14. Race 6, scratch number 6, Houndstooth. Note that number 7, Can't Beat the Rock, will now be ridden by Edwin Maldonado. In the 7th, scratch 11, Side by Side. And as a result, number 12 draws in and will run. The 8th, the grade 3, Las Flores. Number 1, Classical Romance, carries 1 pound over. And in the 9th, scratch 12, 13, and 14. Those are the changes. Please keep your eye on the television monitors, as post times will be accelerated today. Due to rain expected late this afternoon, please make your wagers early. They'll be at the gate for our first race in 58 minutes at 12 noon. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. Filling in for Tom Quigley today is Michelle Yu. And once again, handicapping the card. Back from yesterday and will continue through the weekend, Jeff Siegel.
Thank you so much, Frank. Happy to jump into this card right now. Again, Michelle Yu, Jeff Siegel. Before we get in, I have a fun question. I'm a big fan of asking, how is your rooting style? I'm a slapper and a cursor, if anyone's been around. Earplugs if you're under 18.
You know, I used to yell a lot when I was younger, because it was pretty important stuff when I was gambling back in the 80s. I mean, I was a professional gambler at the time. Now I basically encourage the jockey as if he can hear me.
Right.
You know, come on, so and so,
Right.
or switch stick, so and so, or take a hold, so and so, and it's not that far fetched, because now you can actually, and they do this with the NFL, of course, you can actually communicate with your quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm thinking maybe he's got a plug, and he can go where I tell him to go, you know, or do what he's supposed to do.
Now, to be fair, if you yell loud enough, I've had jockeys come back and be like, I heard you on the turn.
Yeah, well, I can't yell that loud, but I'm usually more reserved now because the stakes aren't quite as high as it used to be for me. Even when I run horses, I usually I'm pretty mellow now. I've changed over the years. Before, madman, I'd be like, you were.
I have blackout. I have blackout when I'm cheering.
I guarantee you'll eventually mellow.
You think so?
Yes, I think you will.
I don't know. It's my passion, Jeff. It's just being loud and annoying. All right, let's hop right into this card here. You heard Frank mention we're going to have accelerated post times today due to some weather that we have incoming over here in Arcadia. So we're going to kick it off hill with the Hernandez. For me, this is a super race with some real class animals in here, but the hillside is a question mark for some of the best of them on paper.
Which is why I actually began the handicapping process looking at proven form over the course. And what makes Sammy's run is 3 for 3. I like that. The one horse that does love the course, but he hasn't been down the hill, is Hit the Road. He's backing up. I like that miler back to a shortening and trip angle for Dan Blacker, especially off the layoff. I'm not sure what the blinkers will do for Hit the Road, but he will be running on late. He's the kind of horse that makes a good downhill turf sprinter. And there's about a half a dozen here, Michelle, that could win, you know, really. But I ended up with What Makes Sammy Run. I liked his breezy the other day on the training track. He ran well in the Stormy Liberal race back at Del Mar. It's not his favorite course. This is. So I think he'll fire. I mean, he's going to need a little luck because he sits off the pace and makes a run, and he needs some help up front maybe and some racing room, but he's as good as any. All
right, looking at the current odds right now, the 10 is your favorite Smooth Like Straight as we talk about this race right now for Michael McCarthy. He'll also be cutting back in distance from a couple of route races. Let's page ahead to race number 2, going to be an open $50,000 claimer going 1 mile on the main track. How did you see this race, F.A.?
I don't necessarily trust him all that much, but I do think Impossible Task will run well here. He's been chasing tougher. He hasn't, the last 2 races I wrote up that he looked stale to me, but he's had a couple of months off, and he does like this track, and I like where he's drawn, and I like where he's placed in terms of the 2-hole, because he has enough speed to get to a good spot. And I don't know if he'll be in front, but he's going to save ground. He's going to get a great trip. He's most effective when he's right up in the fray because he's not one of these horses that comes from way out of it. He doesn't have that kind of style. So if they let him go early, I think it's possible he can make the lead. And if he does that, he'll be even double tougher than I think he will. But this is his level, and I think he's going to run well.
All right. Also, you used Order and Law in there, who I think ran a much better than maybe looks race last time with the sustained long run up the backside that he made.
He did run well, and he's my second horse here, and he's going to be closing if the front runners, the pace horses melt down for whatever reason. Order and Law is the best closer, so I got to use him too.
All right, going ahead to race number 3. It's the Bobby Frankel going a mile and an eighth on the turf course. And again, we have graded stakes packed early in because we had some turf races we want to get in before the weather hits. So tell me what you thought about this race. We do have a scratch in here of Burgoo Alley, which certainly could implicate some of the speed scenarios in here. But if you like Burgoo Alley, don't worry, she entered back for Monday.
Yeah, she's fine. But and I actually gave her a little bit of a look here because of what you pointed out, the fact that the pace scenario would have been rather made to order for her. I don't know whether she's really a mile and an eighth horse, but loose in the lead, you could always be dangerous for that. But Burgoo Alley is not running, which really kind of throws a monkey wrench into my selection, which I started out in liking her, and that was England's Rose, but I'm not sure if there's going to be enough pace for her. Now, I'm hoping that she can lay somewhere close, like in the second flight. She's winless this year, but I've always liked her, and she does like this turf course, and she's coming off a career top race when she was a distant but very good second in the matriarch behind Regal Glory, who would be 1-9 in this race. So hopefully she's a 6 turning 7. I'm not sure how many more races she's going to have left before they breed her, but she is winless this year, and I would like to see her win because I've always liked her. And then Queen Goddess, she's tough. She won the Santa Ana over this course and distance last March. She hasn't been out since May, and I don't know how she runs well fresh, but she's certainly good enough to win if she runs back to her best race.
Well, looking at her, she likes to be more forwardly placed, not on the lead necessarily, but forwardly placed. And with the scratch of Burgoo Alley, which would have been, someone else on the pace, does that make you want to revamp thought? Or are you just like, you know what, I already handicapped it. One horse is out that I didn't think had a chance anyways, and I stick with my guns.
Yeah, I'm going to use them both for sure. I think Queen Goddess, now she won the American Oaks on the dirt last year, that off the dirt first race, but she won that wire to wire. So if she's handed an easy lead, and I'm looking at this lineup here, Michelle, I'm not seeing anybody who's going to run with her. I mean, unless you can point something out that I can't see. She was second in Santa Barbara, but that was a mile and a half. That might be stretching her limit last time, but she made the lead that day. So when looking at this race, I'm fairly convinced that Queen Goddess is, if she's ready, I think she probably is, she's going to be hard to catch.
I wonder if Saavedra sends new heat. She did break her maiden gate to wire 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I saw her schooling yesterday, though, and she was really on her toes. I wondered, in this scenario, maybe they think, oh, let's try and do something different. Because obviously coming from off the pace is not working for her right now.
No, and she was winless this year in 6 starts, and she really hasn't fired. I have to go farther back than the form will show for me to believe that she's good enough to beat this field. And she's a big price at 20-1, but it doesn't mean she couldn't hit the board and make your exactas or trifectas worthwhile.
Right. Race number 4, Maiden 20, going that elongated sprint, 6.5 furlongs. We did have a program scratch of the 9 in here, but our field of 8 remains intact.
Well, I mean, this is a tough race. It's a Maiden 20. John Sadler claimed we're going to have a good time out of the mare celebration. There's cool on the gang.
That's right.
But he claimed him for 50. And that was November. He wheels him back in 5 weeks and runs him for 20, which means this was not a good claim.
You don't think they just want to get a win? They're like, let's make sure we get a W here.
Well, I think this stable. I'm not sure why they're messing with these kind of horses. When you own Flightline, it's kind of a drop down.
Well, if you can't have a horse as good as Flightline, you have to go the other way, Jeff, and just accumulate a lot of lower level horses.
I guess. But we're going to have a good time. Actually ran a race 2 races back here at Santa Anita and Maiden 50 that would beat this field. Now, he didn't run well last time at the same level. He was well back to 3-1, and he just didn't have it. I just think he's running him. Like he's not going to be any world beater. Run him for 20 and move on to a much better horse. So that's why I'm assuming that he will run back to his race before last. And if he does that, then the Sadler or Gelding will probably win. I don't know what to make of Bob Baffert's American Grit. See, this was a situation where if he'd been training here, we would have video.
Right.
But he's at Los Al.
With no local works, which is not like Bob.
Yeah, no, I mean, and he gave 425 for him. He's going to be a 5-year-old tomorrow. He's finally getting to the races, and he's running them for 20. But that doesn't mean he couldn't win. I'm looking at the works now. Everybody works fast at Los Al, but he did work in 59 and 1 and 58 and 3 from the gate,
which translates like a minute here, minute and 1.
It's at least a second or more if you're right, slower. But even if you worked a minute here, that would make him favorite,
right.
So he's obviously been started and stopped on a bunch of times, and maybe Bob doesn't feel he's got any kind of future. It's one of these cull him from the stable and move on to something better. But I would have to use American Grit just because I don't know anything other than how good does he have to be, really.
Right.
So,
I mean, worth noting too. I believe when they turn, is it 5 or 6 that they can't? If they're maidens that haven't started yet, they can't run anymore.
Maybe not on this circuit. They can run somewhere, but then win.
But on this circuit,
and
then they'd have to go somewhere else. So this could be too. Like we had to get them out.
Yeah,
it's literally the last day of the year.
I don't know the rules. They've changed them, and that you might be right. And I'm sure that rule existed before. Whether or not it still does, I don't know. But whatever the case is, he's going to be on my ticket. And I know that Bob likes Juan. He uses him a lot. 34% with this trainer jockey team. So if he felt this horse was not good or maybe not sound enough to be careful, he might put a bug on or somebody. I don't know, but I think he's probably live.
All right. Now, fun question for you. As an owner in the claiming game, do you think this horse gets claimed today? It's
a different type of situation now, and I'll tell you why. Because now you can claim a horse, and before you're stuck with him. Now, if he's not really good and he doesn't run good, you can get bailed out, with the avoided claim. So a lot of guys are taking shots now because they feel if he's unsound, I won't have to deal with him anyway because they'll scratch him in the post. But would I claim a horse like this? No.
Last time Bob dropped one for 40 at Los Al, he did not. No one claimed him.
Here's the thing: I know Bob, and he's a friend, but that's beside the point. Point is, I'm not going to start trying to figure out and be smarter than Bob Baffert.
Right.
If he doesn't know his horse better than I know it, I think that's probably true. I'm not going to try to outsmart him.
I mean, he could be genius. This horse could win by 20, and he's eligible for starters and all his conditions. I mean,
that's true if it was you or me.
Right.
Bob, he doesn't care.
Well, Bob doesn't care, but that's what someone could think. Like, this horse could be just good enough.
Right.
It's interesting. I can't wait to see if someone claims him or not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either for 20.
Yeah.
Now for 40, maybe not. For 20.
Yeah, like I say, if he runs for 20.
Brian Martinez just told me he wants to claim him.
Okay, well, live it up. But, the thing is, if he runs for 20 and he's unsound, you'll probably save your money.
Right.
You'll get it back.
Right.
So, anyway.
All right, going ahead to race number 5, maiden special weight event, sprinting on the grass here. And this is for 2-year-olds, which just about to turn 3. So final chance here for some of these to get in as a juvenile.
Well, I went on expressbet.com to watch the video of this number 9 horse, Phil D'Amato's import. 2 reasons. I wanted to see him run, and I also wanted to figure out how to pronounce his name.
Oh, tell me. Lasmo?
Lasmo.
Okay. Oh, Lasmo.
Well, here's the thing is, the announcer called him one thing, the commentator called him another. So I went to the internet, and it's Lasmo. Is
it named after something?
No, it's an Irish word for out of the park or something. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. I actually liked his race. I didn't love it, but he was running in handicaps there, which they do with maidens a lot. And he got beat 10-horse field straight away at the Curragh, and he got beat a little over a length in his last start. But he was giving 11 pounds to the winner.
137 as a juvenile.
Exactly. 2-year-old. And he ran pretty willingly. Now, unfortunately, we didn't record any of his training track work, so I haven't seen him here. But it's a Pratt, it's a D'Amato. He ran against winners overseas. He gave weight. He ran 2 good races in a row. And he's showing up in what looks to be a moderate maiden race. So at 7-2, I put Lasmo on top. Now, there's 2 other ones that I wanted to mention. One is Valiant Sir, because I love this mile to back sprinting angle. He looks like he'll be a late threat. In fact, Valiant Sir, number 3, 6-1. He only has sprinted 1 time in his life, and he ran well. That was going 5/8 at Gulfstream Park last year as a 2-year-old going 5/8, and maybe he's a late running sprinter.
Tell me if I'm crazy. I feel like he ran that race on the synthetic, and his turf races have been okay. Why not try him on the dirt?
Well, I mean, it's an
Maybe the
option.
Tapiture. I feel like Tapitures are not exceptional.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know why they've been routing him, because he always seems like he's losing his punch. It's out of a declaration of war, Mayor. Maybe they think that. But I see this a lot where horses get pigeonholed.
Yeah.
You know, and then they all of a sudden find that maybe they're better dirt horses. You know, before you were born, there was a horse named Vigers here, and he was a turf horse until he was 5 years old. He was in the San Gabriel, I believe that was the name of the race. He entered, they took it off the turf. Larry Sterling decided to keep him in there. Turned out to be one of the best dirt horses in the country. That's that entire year. And he never would have tried it otherwise. So
look at Omaha Beach.
Omaha Beach too, you know. So exactly. I mean, for sure. You know. So anyway, as for Lasmo, number 9, I like him on top. I will use Valiancer. And I watched Sir Pistolero. That's the first time starter by Gunrunner from John Sadler's barn. He worked alone from the gate on December 17th, so it was hard to get a feel, you know, when they work by themselves. But he looked like a long striding kind of horse, and he might like the grass. You know, the Gunrunners run on anything. So with Frankie Dettori riding, I would use him, even not being that sure. And he acted actually more like a route horse, but you never know. So I would throw him in as well. But I think the Irish horse, I don't think he's a great horse, anything like that, but he's probably seasoned enough and good enough to win a race like this.
Going ahead to race number 6, I see a rare thing on here. Normally you get 2 picks in the graphics, Jeff. Only 1 pick for you. So this is a single and a very strong feeling about a horse in here.
I did have one, but unfortunately the reason why there's only 1 horse listed is because my top horse crashed.
Oh. I thought this was your top horse, and you just didn't need anybody else, Jeff.
I actually liked Houndstooth. I thought he was improving for Steve Maiotti, but I looked at the work pattern, very shaky, you know, and I wasn't sure whether they missed works or whether there was an issue, but apparently there was an issue because this horse has been scratched off the program. So no Houndstooth. That leaves me with Bright Leaf, who's got 2 solid races over a distance to ground. I like the turn back and trip to 7/8 because he looks like a late running sprinter, and he ran well. He likes this track, or has run well past. And even though his last 2 races, it looks like he was disappointing, his numbers were strong. So he was coming out of good races, and a little bit of freshening, almost a month. Switching to Pratt, who Zoe kept reminding me that he hadn't won any races up until like the 4th race yesterday.
With Big Bill.
And I said, I don't think that's going to hold very much longer. So I think you're going to see Flavian heat up now. And he's got Bright Leaf here. But again, this is more of a situation where, you know, he broke his maiden sprinting. He's run well sprinting. 7/8 is a good distance for a horse who's not that quick, which means they don't have to shove and push on him early. He can kind of cruise up into a contending second flight position. So I ended up with Bright Leaf in a race that's really going to be slowly run early. American Cat might show speed, but other than that, not much zip in the race. But I'm hopeful that Bright Leaf can produce the last run.
Race number 7, Maiden 50s, going 6 on the grass. Tell me what you thought about this race. I see you're heading to the outside here.
Yeah, I'm still hoping that this race stays on grass, because by this time, even with the accelerated post times, it's supposed to rain pretty steady from here on in. So, but if it doesn't, if it stays on the grass, which I hope it does, I ended up with Catarini. Solid numbers, good tactical speed outside. 6 furlong turf race, Michelle. It doesn't look like it has much speed. He's going to get a great, comfortable trip out there, either on the leader or in a stalking position. Not a big weight man, but with cheap horses and 7 pounds off, that's significant for me. I think this bud can ride a little bit, and
he looked good yesterday.
Yeah, he
winning
did.
for Mark Glatt.
Absolutely. So I think he's got a real good chance to finally survive. He actually hung on a little better last time than he has been, or she is, I should say. So I think Catarini has got a chance to be right there throughout. Among the others, Alba Yader, that's the Kingman filly. She is coming out of better races, as is Real Fire, both coming in off of straight maiden company. So I think they both will be, on numbers anyway, they fit very well with these. So I'll use Catarini on top, but 5 and 7 will be on the ticket as well.
All right, going ahead to race number 8, more stakes action for you. The grade 3 Las Flores for filly sprinting. Going to be going 6 furlongs in here. I like the obvious horse Samurai Charm, but I didn't think she was a single. I thought there were a couple horses that could maybe spring an upset. What about you?
Well, here's the thing about Samurai Charm. If you look at her races at Zia in New Mexico, I mean, one thing, she ran fast. She turned 2+90 by her numbers, which faster than she's ever done, or just about what she's done. She was 3-5 and 1-5, so she wasn't beating anybody.
Right.
But I like the fact that she's got a couple of confidence-building wins. She's not blazingly quick sprinting at 6 furlongs, but again, another 6 furlong sprint race where not that much speed. I mean, you would think that Anna Capel will show speed, but she's coming out of a couple of mile races. So I think what we're going to see is a very soft opening quarter, which will fit Samurai Charm perfectly. If she runs back to either one of her last 2 races, she's going to be tough. She's been mostly a middle distance horse, but she's been sprinting well, obviously recently in New Mexico. So I'll go with her on top, but I'm afraid she's going to be shorter than she should be.
Right. I agree. I agree. What about the 4, Manarelli for Luis Mendez? She broke her maiden by 11, elongated sprint, and then it went route,
right.
lay off, grass.
I looked at her. Her numbers don't quite match up, but they are getting better. So if she can produce another forward move, then she absolutely can at least hit the board and maybe do better than that. She's lightly raced. She's only had the 6 starts. She's got a win here. Her last race, she was 32-1, and she still ran well. And so that shows me that she moved forward and maybe another chance as well. 8-1, she's got enough speed to be up in the first flight in a race that's going to be, I think, moderately run early and a bullet blowout. So there's a lot of positives there. What
about Violent Runner for John Sadler? Brings in 4 in a row, but diminishing margins and going to have to tangle with some serious horses.
Again, she's got the same kind of pattern as Manarelli, whereas you look at her numbers and she's not there, but she's getting better. And again, another lightly raced filly. She's won 4 out of 5. She got beat first time out, and she hasn't been beaten since, but she's not fast. But now she's going to have to be fast, or at least faster. But maybe she has her in it. So I could, if I'm using Manarelli, I'm certainly going to use Violent Runner, and I know Emily will be doing her best for sure.
Oh, yeah. Emily going to be trying, that's for sure. Race number 9 will close out the card today. An allowance not winners of one other than. And staying on the turf over here for 6 furlongs. What did you think about the finale?
I went with Altruist because he won on this course first time out, and he was 31-1, which means he wasn't training.
He beat Cabo Spirit that day too.
All right, so there you have it. So, but now he's gone for a year and a half, but he comes year and 3 months with the same jock, which is good. He only earned a 68 buyer in that race, but he was 31-1, so he obviously didn't show anything in the morning.
Right.
But with this stable, you're going to be 31-1 first time out. We won the race. Now, this time around, we haven't recorded him, unfortunately, on video, so I haven't seen his works. But he's working fast. He's 59-3, bullet work, 2 works back. Another 59-3 last time out for D'Amato on the training track. Good, solid, healthy work pattern. Breezed on the grass back in late November at Del Mar. And he's listed at 6-1. And, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to improve, but why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he be just as good now as he was? He's also adding LASIK. So I went with Altruist on top, but there's several in here that have credentials, including number 1, Love Sick Blues. I could see him coming off the pace. Code Duello has been in form. Creative Peak is better than 12-1, I think, about that. Square Cat's got credentials. So this is either...
Okay, hold on. You're making me nervous now. I like law abiding. You just listed like half the field that didn't mention law abiding.
Well, I tell you what. I don't dislike him, but I want to hear your sales pitch.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to draw a line through his last effort. It was against Stakes Company, and it was routing. I don't necessarily think he's a good router. I think he's better going 1 turn. You saw him break his maiden 2 back going 6.5 here, right? So I like that. I think 5, it was too short for him. So the only opportunity he got to go that nice 6.5 distance, he won. He's not good enough to route, and he's not quick enough to go 5. So he was at a disadvantage when they were running at Del Mar, because those are the 2 options that you have. So back here, this distance sits in square between the eyes, and he's been consistent. He's run well in a lot of races to say that it wasn't just a fluke that he broke his maiden.
Okay, you talked me into him.
Yes.
Your case is well sold to me. I see it. The route to sprint play, the class drops. The good races sprinting on turf when he's had his chances. He's only had 3 chances.
Right.
So why can't he run well here? See, that's why I like talking to other handicappers. They point things out that sometimes I overlook. So anyway, yeah, I'll throw him in.
All right. I like it. I convinced the Hefe for something.
Yes, you did.
All right. We're 35 minutes to go before the opener here at Santa Anita Park. I want to thank you, Jeff, for joining me here. I want to say We miss you, Tom Quigley. How about that? I want to thank Tom Quigley for not being here today, so I got to hang out with Jeff.
I'll thank him for not being here so I can work with you.
I know, right? Thanks, TQ. Stay home. No, just kidding. We hope TQ feels better soon. And to our audience of one, Zoe Cadman, who is sitting in the XBTV studios, thank you for joining us and giving us all the support that we need. Everybody, remember, there are going to be sped up post times today to try and get away for some weather. So please pay attention to the scroll at the bottom, and also we'll be announcing it throughout the day that we're going to have these accelerated post times. But the first will go off in 34 minutes. Thanks for joining us here on Quigley's Corner.